Chairman of the House Oversight Committee suggesting that former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn may have broken the law for accepting payments from foreign governments without getting permission from Congress. Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley. He is a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Do you think Michael Flynn broke the law?
Well, if, as discussed by the chairman and ranking member yesterday, he didn't disclose or get permission, he certainly can be. Obviously, this is ultimately up to the Justice Department, but I can't help watching those two gentlemen speak. Remember the general leading chants of lock her up at the Republican convention. So if he's not in trouble in a court of law, he's probably in trouble in a court of karma.
Maybe that's what is coming back around now, as it will do, as we've seen so often in life. But what about the White House not knowing or claiming not to know these things, that General Flynn had accepted something like $45,000 from RT, Russian TV, state-run media? I mean, does the White House bear responsibility for not vetting him properly, or just exercising willful blindness on their part?
Yeah, as we recall, a lot of these confirmations were rushed. There were senators saying that they needed more information and more time, but the White House wanted to move forward, knowing just what you said, as well as the fact that he had been fired by a previous administration. Here we are in the hockey playoffs. The general just needs to get fired by one more administration, and he has a dubious hat trick. They knew enough to know this was a problem. The question now becomes, what did they know and when did they know it from Ms. Yates? We're certainly looking forward to her testimony. You know,
when is that? When is she going to testify in front of your committee?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the Senate, it's tentatively set for May 8th. She has been invited by the House Select Committee on Intelligence. We're cautiously optimistic that that testimony will take place just after that May date.
I mean, part of the problem is that Americans don't have a lot of faith that Congress is going to be able to adequately investigate this. Let me put up a poll that has just been released this morning. It is from ABC News. Confident Congress can investigate Russia ties fairly. 50% of Americans say no, 42% say yes. Why should Americans have more faith in your ability to investigate this?
Look, I understand the frustration and the distrust here. The fact of the matter is, so far on the House side, as ways of distraction or obstruction, the White House in the middle of this said, hey, President Obama wiretapped Trump Tower, which obviously turned out to be not true. They canceled a public hearing. The chairman went on a midnight excursion. I don't doubt, and I clearly understand why people have their doubts. Just appreciate, I still think there's a majority on both sides in the House that want to get this job done, to follow the facts wherever they are, because the American public does have a right to know.
But how about a special independent commission? Since, I mean, as you've just delineated all of the problems that make it seem as though, certainly on the House side, your side, that it is tainted.
Well, I don't know that, I mean, it's been obstructed. It's not tainted yet. We don't have a finished product, and we're certainly working forward. All the while, though, all the documents I've read, everything I've heard, the witnesses we've seen in public hearings, and so forth, has told me we absolutely need an independent commission. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I think they have different abilities and different qualities. So I believe there should be a House and Senate investigation, as well as an independent commission and an independent prosecutor when we get to that point.
Congressman, I want to ask you about the news this morning that a judge in California has blocked President Trump's executive order about stopping federal funding to so-called sanctuary cities. I know that you have authored a bill or sponsored a bill trying to prevent this trying to prevent any federal funds to sanctuary cities from being stopped. So how are you feeling today about where this is?
I think the judge did the right thing. I think the proposal was grossly unconstitutional. I did it because I thought it was unconstitutional, but blatantly unfair, putting people at risk for a policy that's on the far right extreme. So, you know, we can't always agree with what the courts do, but I certainly agree with what they've done here.
I mean, but look, Congressman, you know the argument on the other side. You say that this puts people at risk if these federal funds to so-called sanctuary cities are blocked. On the other side, they say, talk to Kate Steinle's family. She was put at risk by a so-called sanctuary city, they say. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, let's understand, people who have gotten country legally or illegally, undocumented residents of this country commit crimes at a far, far, far less rate than other citizens. So I think it's a red herring. I'm very sympathetic to any victims of any crime, but I don't think that the crimes that are taking place by people who are undocumented are any way close to just regular citizens
right,
in the United States.
But I mean, you know what the other side would say. How can you justify having a so-called sanctuary city? Why don't cities want to cooperate with federal immigration agents?
Well, I think what the sanctuary cities were trying to do is get to a point where we pass comprehensive immigration reform. I think the Republicans would acknowledge you're not going to deport, what, 11 to 14 million Americans? It's not the right thing to do. It would crush the economy. So they can't have it both ways. Recognizing this and recognizing that President Reagan did pass relief to people who were in these situations. Yeah. You know, the person that they look to most on such conservative matters did just the opposite of what they're doing now, President Reagan.